everybody, it's Jennifer Ward from Down Dog Knocks. How are you doing? As you can see, I'm at my desk again. How's your desk set up? Do you have a pretty good ergonomically designed space? Well, if like me, you don't, and maybe you're tall or maybe you're short, you do the best you can as you're seated. So as you can see, this is the way I sit a lot. So I got to thinking about how we could de-desk and work on our legs. So this Flex and Flow will be focused on our legs. So let's go ahead and get out of our chair and we'll focus on how we can provide a little love. So let me slide back a little bit. I'm gonna move my chair back. So let's just go ahead and start moving our legs. So let's go ahead and march a little bit. Maybe you put your hands on your hips. You can take a slow march. Or maybe you're like, hey, there's cake in the break room, right? Whatever serves you today, maybe somebody will serve you cake. And then from here, let's do one more time each side. We're gonna come out to the right. So we're gonna bring the right knee up and open through that adductor and then tap down. So thinking toes to nose. So bring the knee up, tap down the heel. You can always use your chair. I'm gonna spin this around just a little bit for some support. Notice if your body starts to do something funky, you know, swaying over to the side, and see if you can still be nice and tall in the left side body. So look here, I have a pretty good setup going. We'll release that. I'm gonna slide over here to my desk. You got it. We're gonna go for the left. So again, check in, see if your right side body, if everything's slumped. And I have said it before, keep breathing. Even if I don't tell you to breathe, just go ahead and do it anyway. All right, from here, we're gonna go ahead and make additional use of our chair. You might have shoes on. If you're working from home like so many people are, you might not. We're gonna rest our heel. We're keeping that same flexed position. We're gonna rest the heel in the chair, hands to hips, thinking of being nice and broad across the shoulders and the collarbone, and we're gonna lean forward. It might be a long lean, it might be a short lean. Just coming into our hamstrings here. If you are extremely flexible and it's easy for you to plop your chest forward onto your thigh, you're gonna wanna work on the muscular development. You're gonna think about keeping those hamstrings really tight and activated. And if your hamstrings are really tight, you're gonna do the opposite. You're gonna think about the flexibility. And from here, we'll release and we'll change sides. So again, toes to nose. And you might find, you probably will find a difference from one side to the other. Checking out, do I need a pedicure? Maybe some lotion. Notice if you started to lock out the knee on the supporting leg. And then we'll go ahead and release that. All right, so we got into our quads. Let's go ahead and get into our hamstrings. So again, feel free to place your hand on your chair. We're gonna root through all four corners of the left foot. We're gonna bring that right foot into the right hand, and we're gonna give a little squeeze. This is a little variation on dancer. And then we'll go ahead and we'll release that. Change sides. We don't want the left leg to get jealous. And from here, we'll go ahead and release that. Give a little shimmy shake to the legs. From here, we're gonna go ahead and make use of our props again, our desk or our chair. We're gonna root through all four corners of the left foot. We're gonna bend the right knee no higher than your hip, so we don't have to come way up here. We'll just let that even out. And then we're gonna do a little kick forward. So we're gonna extend through the ball of the foot, or you can choose to extend through the heel of the foot. And again, check in, notice if everything has to crunch down. If everything gets all squinchy, check that out. Just lower the leg. It's all good. Think about being nice and tall. As tall as a 5'1.5" person could be. And then we'll release. And we're gonna set that down with grace, even if that's just grace in your mind. If you set it down with a thud, just tell yourself, you're like, hey, I was so graceful. And again, you have the option, change your props, change which side, draw up the left knee, no higher than the hip, and extend. So maybe you extend through the ball of the foot, maybe you flex. Kind of check in and see where you feel that. So for me, it's quad as pointed, more hamstring as flexed. And see what your face is doing. Is your face trying to help? From here, we're gonna release, again with grace in your mind. We'll set that down. Let's do a little shimmy. I'm gonna back up a little bit. And we're gonna come into our tree pose. My dad jokes that a tree is only a bush that made it. So you might start out with, we'll call it a sapling. We're gonna bring the sole of the right foot to the ankle of the left, maybe. And we're gonna think about turning out the right knee to point in the direction of the right shoulder. We might just be thinking about that. You might choose to place your hand on your chair, your right foot on top of your left foot. If you take this variation, make sure we don't sass out through the left hip, nice and tall. If today you feel like your tree is a mighty oak, you can use your hand, right? Because it took a lot of air and water for that mighty oak to grow tall. And bring the sole of the right foot to the inside of the left thigh. The thigh is as important as the foot. We're pushing together, right? So we check in what kind of tree we want to have today. It might be different than the tree you had yesterday. From here, we're gonna go ahead and release. And then we're gonna change sides. So pick where your tree wants to be on the opposite side. Remembering you can always place your hand on a desk. It's important to remember that sometimes in life, we need support. And sometimes in life, even if we don't think we need support, it feels really good. So just check in where you want to be. And then we'll go ahead and release that. And one more thing to get into our legs before we finish up today, we're going to come into a forward bend, and we're going to come use the chair or possibly the floor. So we might place our forearms in the chair, or if your chair is nice and cushy, you might place your head in the chair. Give yourself enough space, and then you might choose to go beyond the chair, generous bend of the knees. And then a big bend in the knees. And we're gonna gently, slowly, like you're in a zombie movie, roll up one vertebra at a time. And there is your 5-minute flex and flow for legs. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me. If you're up already, you might take this opportunity to go get a glass of water, pet a dog, pet a cat. Thank you for spending this time with me. Namaste.